Everyone, making this video from Odda, Norway. Odda. Okay, I always do that. I always say it several times when I haven't been up long enough yet to really get my Norwegian pronunciation back. Odda, O-D-D-A, Odda, Norway. Who knows who might be watching this video in 500 years. So I bought this building in the smeltverks here in Odda, where they have a smelting factory that has shut down about 10 years ago, and it pretty much made up like half of the town, and the whole town was basically created. Before this all was here in 1908 is when this was all built. It was a farming community, and then during the industrialization and just during the industrialization of the world, where everyone's advancing in technology and the wealth of the world, engineering, education, knowledge is speed and production and manufacturing, assembly line is created. All of this, created a huge economic explosion all over the world. So this is another result of that. However, the products that were made here, eventually just wouldn't make money anymore for this company. But it was in production for almost 100 years, 80 years or something, and they made here in Odda, which has a population of about 7,000 now. It's located right on the base of the Soa Fjord, and it is where they smelted. This factory here was built in 1908, and they smelted calcium carbide and cement. This is one of the most toughest words to say. Cyanides. I don't know exactly what cyanides are. I don't know exactly what carbides are. They're both, I believe they're compounds, so they're made up of different elements, and I think chemical reactions create them. But basically, raw materials were taken here, dropped off by ships, and the hydroelectric power from the waterfalls powered these plants that were all being created during the Industrial Revolution. So I don't know what cyanides exactly are used for. You mix them with something else, I believe, and it creates different products. I know that calcium carbide, and it might be cyanamide and calcium carbide is what makes these fertilizer and a type of like lantern fuel called, what was it called? I know that calcium carbide was used to make a type of fuel for lanterns, and I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me. But anyway, so this is a building that was used to make barrels, and there are the barrels right there. And those barrels carried, I believe, the calcium carbide when it was finished. And those would go on back onto ships and reach wherever their final destination was, where they would make the final products, fertilizers, and this gas. Oh, acetylene gas. I don't think they use acetylene very much anymore. Now we have propane and stuff like that. So I'm here cleaning out this factory, and I realized I better take some videos before I'm all finished moving everything out. So pretty much everything up here, they put on a new roof, but they still managed not to touch anything. And this rack over here, I think, was the oldest. I don't think anything was touched on that rack since the mid-1930s. I've cleaned it all up now. It was a mess. All the wall junk had fallen off onto it, and there were several boxes there. There were boxes that were stuffed with packaging newspaper that had dates on it. 1937, I believe. Here's one of them. And then there were some tags on some packages that were dated in the 1930s. So I don't think anything in here, I found one tag from 1940. So I don't think anything in here was really ever touched since 1940. I mean, and then most of it, I don't even think it was touched before that. So, here I moved this piece of you can kind of see the big piece of sheet metal that was really heavy sitting there. So this is probably like dust from like 1935. So up here it was a storage, it turns out, for these electrical components must have been for the power plant here. They basically had a little mini city that they had to, and they probably ended up using all this stuff for the town, because the town basically was built once these factories came in. The people that moved here to work in the factory needed to have living quarters, so the whole town used to be farming, and they built houses there. So this probably was like not just for like the factory, but also for the community as it grew around the factory. So these are all these electrical porcelain insulator components that mainly is what's up here. Again, I don't think most of this stuff has been touched since the 1930s. I have kind of picked through here. Look at that thing right there. Some kind of transistor or something. Portable, it's on wheels, so I don't know what that would have been for. Weighs about maybe 1,000 pounds. Look at that gear. I don't know what that is exactly yet. However, downstairs, I think they made that gear here, because I found a replica of that gear made out of wood, where they would have made what is it called? The lost cast method, where they pull the casting out of the sand and they pour the metal into the casting to make the replica. So you can see there, made in Germany. And then there's a tag that says Odda Smeltewerks. So I think that's probably been sitting there since pre-World War II. So there you go. If you're a philosopher, digest that. What does that mean? What is it called? Anyway, so, stuff, boxes of stuff. I don't even know what's in that box. Could be, who knows. So I'm pretty close to getting this all cleaned out. Today will be the end of it, but I wanted to do a little video before it was all gone. I should have done a video first. I don't even know. I was so excited I didn't do it. But there was stuff everywhere, and it was really messy looking, so maybe it's a little bit nicer now. I took lots of pictures. So there you have it. Why was it all left up here untouched since 1940? Someone was telling me that the building that you see across the way was some kind of place where they kept parts. So maybe that was where they ended up having the main part location. This was a barrel making facility, so it's a really, really interesting building from the outside. So maybe it was just they ended up deciding to use this building for other reasons, because if you see there's all these big windows that had been boxed in or bricked in. So maybe this was originally going to be some kind of office, but they decided needed it for other purposes. Who knows? Look at this. This is like if this was an office, I don't know why they ever would have needed a cargo lift to the third floor. I'm on the third floor right now. So this must not have been designed to be an office, unless they added that afterwards, which, when you look at that, it looks like they might have actually. So, better get back to work.